talk about soul alignment or balancing in almost everything I write or discuss concerning twin flames. That's because it's a huge part of our journey. I've said it before, but I think it's worth repeating. I don't think that balance is about being perfect, but more about finding your authenticity through self love. For nearly a year, I've felt I've been, for the most part, maintaining higher vibrations, and I've definitely grown with self love, though I know I still have things to work on. But that will always probably be open for improvement. Also, I know it's a step by step journey and it's not going to happen overnight because the journey will never end. And actually, if you think about it, self love and our spiritual journey go hand in hand. So that totally makes sense that both would be ongoing growth. But there have been times I've wondered why, if I'm maintaining a balance, then why has it been so long since I've seen my twin flame? And some might say that's because this is just a spiritual journey. And I know we call it a spiritual journey, but it's more than just spiritual. And if you've watched my other videos, I almost always mention that we are being guided back to our soul, which is the bridge for balancing our physical nature with our spiritual essence. I wholeheartedly believe that my twin flame is my shared soul. And as a shared soul, I believe we are meant to have unity, which is physical and spiritual. And the evidence of that physical and spiritual has been continually put before me to show me this. So I don't accept that belief that they were just a catalyst, that they were only to awaken you, or this is just a spiritual journey and it has nothing to do with them. When someone says that, they don't understand the shared soul, and I don't expect them to. It's not something that can be fully understood unless it's experienced. And I'm not knocking that. They're just on a different type of spiritual journey that they've mistaken as a twin flame path. Or maybe they are a twin flame, but they're meant to have those limiting beliefs as a way to help them move through certain blockages. I don't really believe that, but I do know that everyone's journeys are unique. So I'm open to what that might mean for other people. Besides, the people that will feel friction with this are the ones who are always quick to say to everybody else, they're the ones out there telling everyone else they were just a catalyst or this is just a spiritual journey. So there's that. Okay, so moving on. I was watching my 7-year-old niece at her gymnastics practice and she was on the balance beam. And when she first started out, she had to have help getting on the beam and she would have trouble staying up there. And even when she tried to do very basic moves, she would wobble and often fall off. But now, after a couple years of practice, she's able to mount and dismount rather impressively. She aligns her body with the beam so she's able to focus her eyes forward instead of watching her every step. It just comes much more naturally. She still falls sometimes, but she's able to quickly and with little effort get back to where she was. And each time she practices, say something like a half turn, she gets better and better at it. But she has to practice it over and over until it's become a part of her. And this made me think about how, even though I've felt so much more in tune with my soul than what I was a year ago, and even though I know I have room to grow with that, I still can't help but wonder why I haven't seen that direct physical evidence of my twin flame experiencing a lot of this for quite some time. I've gotten lots of signs actually, and I've experienced telepathy, body sensations, but of course, I still wonder why he hasn't shown up in the direct physical. In my video, Am I in Divine Energy? Our conscious and subconscious roles are discussed as part of the influences between twin flames. I show why I think the feminine intern leads the spiritual growth stage first, and then the masculine intern follows with leading the physical growth stages. I got this as a spiritual download earlier in my journey, and even though I didn't really understand it, I trusted it. And for some months now, I've seen how it's been at work in my growth in just that way. My growth has turned more towards physical growth, such as searching for a job that I can feel fulfilled in, stopping or reducing addictive behaviors, improving finances, being more mindful about eating habits and exercise, interacting with people more, working on self confidence. These are all things that I feel are more of the physical growth associated with a spiritual journey. And of course, that can vary from person to person. Most of this showed up actually subconsciously. Like it just started happening without me really trying. And some of it I realized after I noticed myself doing these things. And I thought, you know what? This is my physical growth. And it fell right in line with what I had journaled a while back when my inner being told me that we were trading places. And I thought it might have to do with the physical being the lead, but I wasn't sure. At first, I wondered if we were going to experience another cycle of running and chasing, but that didn't line up with my beliefs either. And I thought it might have to do with the physical taking the lead, but I just wasn't sure. Because it could mean a lot of different things, and it's often how this journey is. Like things will happen, and it's only after they happen that we're able to put it together. And I think that's the way it's supposed to be. Because sometimes we just have to go through the experience of it without the knowledge. That's actually what the soul is doing. It comes here as the unknowing soul. It incarnates into this to experience unknowingly so it can truly experience. So, and that's one of those things that it just everything keeps coming back into itself on this journey. But then it was overnight that I felt the energy shift. So after I did that video, it made me think about how he's leading with the physical growth stage now. And there may be more than one cycle of spiritual and physical. And I'm certain that there probably already has been, just very little subtle bits of it at a time. And that to me is the practicing, because it has to happen a little at a time. And I've noticed that that's how things usually work for me. Like I'll say one of my big things in my life has been overeating. And it's not like I have to have sweets or anything. That's not an issue for me to do without when I'm trying to like cut back on things. My weakness is carbs and chips specifically. Like I love chips. And I will be quick to open up a bag of chips and just sit there and watch TV and snack or whatever. And so that to me is a really hard thing to stop doing, or has been in my life. But for the past month, it's really not been hard for me to do at all. I've like not even thought about it. And I looked back and I was like, I didn't have any chips this week. And that was so weird to me. It's just kind of like that, it just happened. And I didn't even realize it was happening. And so that's how I can kind of see that I feel like he's leading this physical stage. And I am subconsciously receiving that conscious growth on his part. It's subconsciously happening for me. So, anyway, I think that there will probably be cycles of this, and it'll just keep expanding with each oscillation. But through this, even though I may not be my best version, it's through that practice of balancing that I'll keep getting closer and closer to that balance. And I believe my twin is too. And I realized that I had time to practice maintaining my high vibrations, being in those high vibrations, to the point where it's rare that I feel out of balance. And if I do, it doesn't last for long. I'm able to quickly get back to balance. So during this time that my twin is leading with physical growth to help bring us closer to better balance with our soul, he's learning to maintain balance like I did during the spiritual growth stage, which I was leading. Like I was consciously putting forth an effort for spiritual growth, and he was subconsciously receiving that. Just like he's consciously working on physical growth, he might be trying to get in better shape, stop smoking, whatever it is, it's towards our physical growth, towards his physical growth, and he's making a conscious effort. Thereby, it is subconsciously affecting me. Now, I don't know exactly what that means for the future, but because I believe we share our soul, it does mean that the more balanced with our soul we are, the more balanced we are with each other. So if you would like to share on this, please comment below and leave a like if you enjoyed the video. If you would like to see more, please subscribe. And thank you for watching.